Hi there, everybody. I'm Trisha Peach, host of the Peach Buzz. I wanted to say a huge hello, and we're going to be talking about being bivocational in ministry. For those of you going to CPC this next week, I can't wait to see you in Orlando. I'm really excited. I'm going with my sister, Erica Goffin, and we're going to have a wonderful time. I'm going to be teaching on special needs ministry. I've got a very full class down there, but maybe you can still get in and see me at Small Steps for Special Needs class. I'm very excited for. So you're bivocational. Bivocational meaning you do ministry and you work an outside job. There are some things you need to know. There's some things I really want you to know. Number one, you are not alone. I see people who are bivocational at all of these conferences, and they always kind of, they look down, they might hem and haw, the church can't quite bring me on full time yet, but I need you to understand that the ministry that you do is not lesser. It is not secondary because you're not full time. I need you to understand that, and you're definitely not alone. You are not alone because there's a whole lot more, many more people in ministry these days that are bivocational than you think. I think we get it in our head that everyone else has this massive ministry and everyone else doesn't have money problems and everyone else is not bivocational. You don't have to apologize for being bivocational at all. And there are a lot of pastors who are bivocational. 80% of all children's pastors have absolutely no background in children's ministry whatsoever. So many of them are working their other job, banking, working in the post office. If your church is lucky, you're an L-Ed teacher and you have some background in education. So you're working two jobs. But I say this all the time, there's no such thing as part-time ministry. Because it's a calling, it's not a job, it consumes your life. You may only be paid part-time, you may not be paid at all, but you are still doing the work of the ministry. Your paycheck does not reflect the worth of the ministry that you do. Your paycheck does not indicate the impact of your ministry. I feel very strongly on that point. You need to know that. I keep running into bivocational ministers. 80% of all churches in the United States right now are under 100 people. Let's be realistic. A lot of those pastors are working another job, whatever it is. Now, I was full-time on staff for 17 years at a very large church, mega churches, and that is exhausting. And it does become your whole life. Now that I travel and I do this, I also sub-teach when I'm in town. I will fill in pulpits. I teach classes online a lot. So I guess my kids say that I'm quad vocational? I don't know. But you do what you have to do. You get things done. But there are actually a lot of benefits to being bivocational, quite a few benefits, such as if you are bivocational and in ministry, you probably have access to some resources that are not available within the church. We called it our church bubble. Our bubble was so all-consuming. When you're full-time in ministry, sometimes we said, let's just put a cot in our office because we never go home. It's just so all-consuming. So our resources were within our own church. Our contacts were within our church. Not very many that were outside the church world. When I'm sub-teaching, I come into contact with the newest and the best in special ed technique and the newest and the best for education, which were fantastic with children's ministry. You may have access where you are to some things that you wouldn't have within the church. When I was in Bible college, I was like many college students trying to earn my way through school. and I worked security at Mall of America. You think, well, that has nothing to do with children's ministry. Let me tell you, God wastes nothing. God wastes nothing. What you're doing in your quote-unquote secular job is part of the ministry that he has for you. You know what I did for that job? I did recruiting, training, filling of holes when people called in sick, and I had no idea when I was there. I was just trying to make a paycheck. God was using that to train me for children's ministry. What do we do a lot of? Recruit, train, fill in holes when people call in sick. It was phenomenal training that I got that I did not get within the church. So that was good. This leads right into my third point. If you are bivocational, you probably have a lot more access to pre-Christians, non-Christians, than people who are full-time on staff at a church. What do I mean by that? When I was full-time on staff at a church, we used to say, we don't ever see anyone but the people who are in this office. Maybe the person who does my hair, the dentist, but other than that, our lives became 24/7, the monster of Sunday, making sure we had Sunday ready to roll. When you are bivocational, you are in contact with non-Christians, you are in contact with the culture, so it helps you speak the language of the culture. My husband works an outside job, and when I was full-time on staff, he would say, Trish, what you just said from the pulpit was really tone deaf. You didn't even realize people are working this many hours and they can't be there that long on a Thursday night. And I had no clue because my whole life was in those walls. And it was good to be married to somebody who could give me another perspective. If you are bivocational, it helps you learn the language of the culture that you're in and help you minister to those we are called to save. Church was never supposed to be a country club for those who were already saved. How did it turn into this? We're supposed to be outreaching. And lastly, leads right into this, be seen in the community. Okay, if you're a lead pastor, let's just say you're a lead pastor and you are working somewhere, that gives you a chance to say, yeah, I'm the pastor of such and such church. That doesn't make you a failure. That's advertising. You're getting paid to advertise your church. Good job. If you're a youth pastor, I've heard of youth pastors that substitute teach. Some of them that don't even have to, but they substitute teach in the local school because they meet so many teenagers and then say, hey, come see me on Wednesday night. Come see me on Wednesday night. And it grows their youth group. You want to reach kids for Christ? Maybe you need to go where they are instead of sitting in your church hoping some miracle happens and they wander in. Go find them. Where are the children? Maybe you need to work at the YMCA, work with swim lessons, they always need substitute teachers. Being bivocational gives you that. And you can learn skills, so many skills. I was able to get certified for special ed, certified for, different disciplinary training, things like that. You can get training in your secular job that sometimes you can't get within the church. So if I could just encourage you this week, your ministry is not less. Your paycheck does not determine the worth or the impact of what you do. And you may, if you're bivocational, you may have an edge over those who are full-time on staff. And God may call you to that later, and that's a whole different ball game. Really is. But if this is what you're called to right now, bivocational ministry, embrace it. Let God use it. Use that to grow the ministry where you are. Learn every skill you can. Like I said, God wastes nothing. And let God use you and do incredible things for the kingdom. So I hope I see you this week in Orlando. I will be doing an episode live from Orlando, probably at Disney Springs. We'll see. I love you guys and hang in there. Thank you for what you do for Jesus and his kids. God bless.